Good morning, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm from your Hope Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So looking at the stats and what happened last week is between February 4th and February 10th. You know, we're always a little bit behind on that, but single-family homes, there were 292 that sold. Now, the interesting thing that I looked at was 505 went under contract. So usually we're coming into that time of year where there are more houses selling, so that's the good news. But I'm going to keep my eye on that and see what happens, you know, because usually there's a lot more that are going under contract that are actually closing, and that's not really good, you know, for our market. But basically that's kind of where we're at right now. So 505 went under contract, 292 sold last week. That's the median price of the single family homes that sold were $439,000, which is increasing. So if the market is actually going up in activity, then that would make sense as well that the prices could be increasing. The inventory actually went down by 16, and it's sitting at 5510, which translates to 4.64 months of inventory. Now, in my opinion, we had a pretty low week. It was over 400 the week before. And so we're kind of a low week. So I don't know if it's just an off week or whatever. So that's going to skew the months of inventory that we have a little bit. So 4.64 overall. Under 250,000, there were 27 of them that sold. They sold at 92.06 of asking price. And the months of inventory is at 2.91. So not a lot of inventory, but still a lot of negotiation because there's a lot of usually repairs needed on that price point. 250 to 300, there were only 13 houses that sold in that price point. And that leaves 97.67% of asking is what they sold for, and 5.11 months of inventory, which even though only 13 sold, there's still a few in inventory there. They probably do need some work, or maybe not in the most desirable area, but that's what's going on there. Between 300 and 400, there were 66 that sold, and they sold at 97.11% of asking, and there are 4 months of inventory at that quantity. Between 400 and 500, there were 67 that sold, and they sold at 98.46% of asking price, and there are 3.71 months of inventory. Then between 500 and a million, there were 89 houses that sold at 97.76% of asking and 5.35 months of inventory. Then at a million plus, there were 12 that sold at 95.81% of asking and 11.42 months of inventory. So basically, when you're talking of 11 months of inventory, and usually they're going for a little bit less than the average when it comes to the list to ask price, there usually is a little bit of room, which that's showing in this case that there obviously is. So now looking at the condos, townhomes, and villas, 112 sold last week, and the median price was 100, and it was 116 the week before, and the median price was at 283,000. So really, they stayed pretty much the same as the week before, and the month amount that went under contract were 137. So they're staying pretty consistent through all of those things last week, the week before, and everything like that. The median price did go up and everything. However, basically, the inventory went up 72, and that's sitting at 2738 of your choices. Of the 116, 41 of them were under 250. 23 were between 250 and 300, 33 between 300 and 400, 10 between 500 and 400 and 500, 4 between 500 and a million, and 1 over a million. So when you're looking at the months of inventory, in that case, they're at 5.64 overall. And basically, you know, they're kind of hovering the same up until you get to 500 400 to 500. Then you've got 9 months of inventory. We've got 16 months of inventory between 500 and a million. And there were, 4 of them that sold in that price point, as I told you, remember. And then between over a million, there's only 3 months of inventory and only 1 sold. But the list to ask price was pretty much close, right on, all the way across up until over a million, and that one sold at 88.19% of asking. So basically, when you're looking at that, it looks like the single family market is heating up again. Based on the number of houses that are going pending. The median price actually was pretty high this week at $439. A few weeks ago, it was at $385, but it kind of hovers around $425. So we're kind of on the high side a little bit there. And so you just got to be aware, basically, of what's going on and what you're trying to accomplish out there. But basically, the bottom line is that there are a lot of houses out there for you if you're looking for them. If you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio with you every Sunday at 8 a.m. If you'd like to reach us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So one of the things that's going on out there in a report that said that homeowners are staying in their homes twice as long as they did in 2005, and that's driven largely by older Americans. I don't know if you remember or if you heard last week, but basically what I was saying is that, most of the houses, 47% or 41%, I believe it is, are owned by baby boomers, and they're only like 23% of the population. And I know my numbers aren't exactly accurate there, but basically, there are a lot less percent of the population than own the houses, basically is what's going on. And so basically, it says here that baby boomers and Generation Xers, more than any other generations, are staying in their homes up to 20 years, far exceeding the typical 11.9 years most U.S. homeowners occupy their residences. So I think that what's going on really is that they're finding the house that they want and they're staying in it. That 17% of the people in the U.S. are 65 or older as of 2020, up from 13% in 2010. Older Americans are the most likely to own homes. Nearly 80% of baby boomers and 72% of Generation Xers own their homes, compared to 55% of the millennials and 26% of Generation Z. And millennials move more because they're younger and they switch jobs more often than the older generations. And I think they're moving up the ladder of their house. The baby boomers and the Generation Xers, basically what the bottom line with them is that they've been working longer, they know what they want, and they're actually settled into that kind of house that they want to get and that they want to have. And, what nearly all baby boomers with mortgages have much lower rate now than if they sold and bought a new home today with the, high sixes, kind of rates. And some state tax systems have policies that make it financially beneficial for people to stay in their homes as they get older. And many older Americans prefer living in their family home rather than moving to a different house or entering into an assisted living. That's been proven by a lot of studies that were done. And it was a cheap and easy way to move in the early 2000s because of the larger inventories and the looser mortgage lending standards and the lesser mortgage rates and everything too. So that's why people are staying in their homes and everything now, because a lot of people have those rates and they have the houses they want, so they don't have a reason to move. But in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. If you'd like to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So one of the things that I was looking at this week is really homeowners basically want to sell their home at top dollar. Most do, some don't. Some people would like the certainty of selling their home instead of selling it for top dollar. And if you want that certainty, I mean, I think we've got the best system out there for that, because we've got a platform that actually shops the best cash offer that you're going to get from your home. So we have a lot of local investors that actually participate in this, that give us their information of what they're looking for in houses, and so they can make those offers for you. And then we also have over 60 institutional investors that are on our platform that can give you that cash offer. And so there's some of them actually that are very interesting, that they just have a flat fee of what they're trying to get. And the way that they operate is that, you know, they're going to guarantee that they give you a certain amount of money right now, which is usually about 80 to 90% of it. And then they've got some in reserve. And once they actually sell it, they're not looking at holding on to it. They're just going to flip it. But once they sell it, they're actually going to give you the rest of that money, and whatever it sells for, they're going to give it to you. So they're not looking at making that gain. There's other companies out there that they're going to buy it for X amount, and they're going to flip it, and they're going to make the gain. This company just has a flat fee that they charge, and that's it. That's all that they're trying to do. They're not trying to be greedy about it. So they have some really interesting programs. They have a leaseback program and all of that kind of thing as well, that actually make it really easy for you to have that certainty if that's what you're looking for. But if you're looking for the best price, then, you know, a lot of times you're going to be able to do it on the market. Again, we guarantee the price that you're going to get, or we'll pay you the difference. And so that's another option that's out there as well. But then if you do want to sell your home, and when these companies come in there and they do buy and they flip, these are kind of some of the strategies that they're going to do to make your house stand out and to get top dollar for it, because that's in everybody's best interest, obviously. So basically, there are simple steps that you can do, include proper staging, selling at the right time, and sprucing up the outside to increase curb appeal. And basically, the bottom line is let's just start with the curb appeal thing, because when you give your curb appeal a boost, you know, you're not going to have that situation where somebody comes up to your house and they don't even want to come in. I can't tell you how many times that I've been out with a buyer, and we're looking at a lot of houses, and so they do have choices, and they are pretty particular in regards to what they're looking at. And when they pull up to the house, you know, they might see something that they see in the yard that they go, oh, I don't even want to go in. And then as the homeowner, you've gone to all this work getting your house put together and doing all the curb appeal things that you thought we're going to sell your house on the inside, but you can't even get them on the inside because they don't like the outside. So curb appeal is really important. And so, you know, it's the first impression that they see. You know, many times, like I said, they're not even going to go into the house if they don't like the curb appeal. And it can increase in a value increase up to 12%. So it is a big number, and it's something that you definitely, want to do. So you want to make sure that that front door looks great. You know, whether you need to repaint it, maybe it's power wash it, maybe it's just clean it, you know, all of those kinds of things. You want to make sure that the hedges are trimmed and there are fresh flowers growing, and that the walkways and the driveway are clean and tidy. Those are really big things that you can do. A few simple strategies can help you get more money for your home. And basically, that's what you want to do. So it's like, so when they pull up and you've got fresh mulch, or you've got fresh flowers, or those kinds of things, it's going to make it look definitely different. Basically, another thing that you need to do is kind of stage your home. Now, this is something that I know that happens a lot more in other parts of the country than happens here. But one of the main things that you need to do when it comes to staging is make sure that the room that you're in is used for that particular purpose. So you don't want to have a multi-purpose room. Like, it doesn't want to be an office, a gym, a family room, all of those things at once. I mean, you might use it for all of those things, but you don't want to have that stuff happening because you want the buyer, when they walk in there, to realize the value of that room and have everything not look crowded or crammed or anything like that, like it's in there. I know, years ago, I lived in a condo, and a one-bedroom condo, and basically, my bedroom was all of those things. It was the bedroom, it was the office, it had my exercise equipment in there. I mean, it had everything there because it was required. So basically, when people looked at it, they were like, wow, this is kind of a big room, but what am I going to do with all my stuff? I don't want to have all of that stuff, share everything. So you need to have rooms for everything specifically, and that's one of the main things that it comes to when it comes to, staging the home and making sure that the focus is on whatever it is, whether it's the owner's suite in the kitchen, the living room, or whatever. And basically, it can serve as a sizable profit for you if you went ahead and just paid attention to those little details. But if you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio with you every Sunday at 8 a.m. If you'd like to reach us at your home sold guaranteed realty, you can call or text us at 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So another thing that we want to do on here is know your local market, because a good way to price your home and to gauge if it's going to go quickly is to look at what's going on out there. So when I'm working with sellers, I do a whole very in-depth analysis in deciding and figuring out what the value of that home is. And it changes over time for sure, looking at it and looking at what's going on. It's like a lot of times people like to look at what's going on in the market and look at what their competition is. And so, that's something that we definitely do because that is our competition. And when you look at it, for example, I was looking at a property the other day that we were putting on the market, and basically, there were several houses that were on there that were priced way above, anything that had ever sold in that neighborhood before. Now, these are all very similar properties. They're townhouses, and, they're all the same size. They're only a few years old. So basically, when it comes down to it, you can tell that definitely there is a big, that they're kind of cookie cutter to a certain extent, And so what these people were looking for, and when you look at the days on the market, it's like 200 days on the market and, 90 days on the market and all of that kind of stuff. And they're still not under contract. And basically the bottom line is that in that kind of an environment, like I talked to the seller about, is that, we definitely need to be competitive to make things happen. And they agreed, and they said, yeah, we're pricing it to sell. Our goal is to sell it, not to sit on the market. And so they definitely, wanted to do that and priced it. And so we are getting showings, which those other properties aren't, because, with somebody that was showing it, we had to change it. And so I said, are you looking at other ones in the neighborhood? And they said, nope, this is the only one. Well, so there are other properties out there that are kind of similar to it, but they're not getting the people in there. And I love to hear that we're getting the people in there and other people aren't. And the other things that I want to talk about here to get the quick sale are value added home improvements. And you want to focus on renovation dollars on the buyer projects that are going to reap the highest return. For example, I was talking to somebody and, basically the home is about 20 years old and the carpet's about 20 years old too. So that's going to reflect on what people think and what they look at and what they're going to do. So, in that, our first step is we're going to work on that carpet to see if it can look brand new and give a credit or replace it before, but we didn't want to replace it with something that somebody was not going to like and rip out anyway. So you got to be careful. So in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, the host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So in the last segment, I was actually talking about important strategies for selling your home. And I talked a little bit about staging your home, knowing your local market. And I was just getting started to talk about making added value home improvements. And basically, you know, you've got to look at kind of what's going to make sense when it comes to that. You know, if your inside of your house hasn't been painted for a long time, painting the inside of your house might go an awful long way to make your house stand out above every other house, and making it the color that actually is going to be something that goes along with the flooring that you've got, first of all, and everything else that you've got in the house. Because if you have a different color, that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And then the other thing that you want to do is that you want to make sure that in the painting that it's something that's neutral, that anybody could get their stuff into it. It might not be something that everybody's going to keep forever, but it's going to be something that they have, you know, so that they can live with at least until they can do that painting, or maybe they're just going to do an accent wall or something like that. The projects that reap the highest ROI is absolutely, if you believe it or not, is an air conditioner that involved convert, and basically that's something that was the highest ROI, but that was converting from a fossil fuel burning furnace into a heat pump. So I don't know if that was in Central Florida. It doesn't sound like it to me, but the fact that you've got a new roof is absolutely a huge thing that will help in selling your house. Today, what we deal with a lot is in Florida and in Central Florida is basically getting insurance and getting reasonable insurance. And so that roof goes a long way with that. In addition to that, believe it or not, the hot water heater is something that insurance companies are requesting, are fairly new, as well as the air conditioning system. So I don't know why they're requiring those things. I can see if a hot water heater is inside the house and something breaks down on that, then that's going to cause a flood. That's going to cause a lot of damage. That's going to be a big claim. If it's in the garage, I don't see it so much, but we recently had a situation where that was what the case was. So we had to go along and do that. But, paint, flooring, those kinds of things. Kitchens and bathrooms are the main things that people do, but you've got to be careful because you don't want to over improve and that kind of thing as well. And so it makes sense. And so we have a report out there that's called the 27 Tips that actually helps you get top dollar. So, I'm not for overspending, but I'm definitely for spending what you need to do to get what you need to get to do the right thing. And then selling at the right time. So basically in Central Florida, this time right now is our highest month of what it's going to be. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, that last week over 400 houses went under contract. I think, that number, where was that? That number was actually 500. 505 houses went under contract last week in Central Florida, and that's just Orange, Osceola, Seminole, and Lake counties. So basically, looking at that, that's a huge number in regards to what's happening. And March is our highest closing month of the year. So if you're a buyer, now's your time before things get a little bit too much more crazy. And if you're a seller, you definitely probably want to have it on the market to not miss the time. Now, we stay pretty high all the way through July. And so basically, this is kind of the season where it's really good for both buyers and sellers. We're pretty consistent. I mean, we're talking like, maybe 1% less, 2% less, or something like that of the number of houses that sell. But this is the high time. So I think we're at 7 but it's like 5 in other months and stuff like that. So basically, it is a really good time to sell now at this particular time. But, if you're looking at selling your house and you want to get top dollar, call me up and have me come in. I'm more than happy to help you in looking at it and seeing what's going to be the best, use of your money and what you can do that are simple fixes that are going to make a big difference. So if you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio with you every Sunday at 8 a.m. Remember, if you want to reach us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. And, so the other thing that I was telling you, is if you do want certainty, I think we've got the greatest program out there to get multiple cash offers. And so just go ahead and give us a call and we can get that done for you so you've got the certainty. But my opinion is, why not do it all? Why not get those cash offers, see what they are, and then also, see what you can get on the open market. And like I said, we guarantee price. So we're going to guarantee that you're going to get, that market value. Otherwise, we're going to take it out of our pocket. And so, take advantage of that and make sure that you're going to get absolutely what you want when it comes to your house and the best value. But you've got to be really careful not to overprice. And I know everybody wants more. And, I've got some sellers that are like, well, I need this because this is what I want to do with the money. Well, you can't change what's in your bank account and you can't change, what's in your house. I mean, it is what it is. If you, have a nice ring or a nice watch or something like that and you go to sell it, you can't determine, what the market is. You can't get more than what the market value is. But we do take advantage of the optimology of the market, of taking the best optimal value that we can and get the best value for you. And that comes through in our statistics that show that we sell houses for 7% more than the average agent. And so, you're going to get top dollar in working with us. And so it's just putting us to work to make that happen for you, because there's a lot more to selling a house than just putting it on the market and hoping something happens. You absolutely have to make something happen. We do it day in and day out, and we're here to work for you and with you in order to make that happen. And that's what we like to do. And so, if you want that certainty or if you want that top dollar, we're the guys that you want to talk to, because we have everything in our arsenal to just make that happen for you. And everybody's different in regards to what they want. And, when you look at it, it's like there's a lot of people that want that certainty and they're willing to settle for a little bit less. And so, as investors, we've got a lot of investors, what they call buy box, to let us know what they actually are looking for. And then we absolutely go to work to find those houses that match it and make the matches. And that's what it's all about. So basically, when it comes down to it, you definitely want to make sure that you've got your best foot forward. And that comes with absolutely working with the right people. And obviously, I think myself and my team can do more for you than the average agent. And that just comes through in our stats, like I had mentioned. And so basically, when it comes to selling your house, you want to make sure that you are absolutely doing everything that you can under your guidance of what you want. If you want more certainty, you're going to take a little bit less money. Or if you want to absolutely, get that top dollar, then you know what you're going to have to do for that. So everybody's different. Everybody's needs are different. And so we're there to help you navigate through those waters and to get absolutely everything that you want. But in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we will see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So basically, I saw this thing and I thought, well, it's kind of common sense, but maybe some of you don't know that if you raise your credit score, you're going to get a better mortgage rate. Buyers with good credit scores have a better chance at lower mortgage rates. And so you have to look at improving your credit scores. And, I know a lot of people have Credit Karma and all of that kind of stuff, and they look at that. And that is not necessarily what your credit score is going to be for a mortgage, but it gives you a good idea. So, the best scores get the best rates. I mean, that's basically the bottom line. And you qualify for more loans and all of that kind of thing as well. And so basically when it comes down to it, your credit score is very important when it comes to mortgages, many things in life. But when it comes to mortgages, and I've heard different people say that, if your credit score is lower, even your auto insurance is higher and that kind of thing. So just having a good credit score is common sense and would make sense. Now, there's things that happen to all of us and our credit scores go down and they're beyond our control. So you just have to look at what you can do to keep improving your credit score. One of the things that you could do is pay your bills on time, obviously. Whenever you pay a bill late, it can have a negative impact on your credit score. And so using automatic monthly payments with reliable services might be a good way to do it. So, even if you have a credit card and you're going to pay it all off, you could have it set automatically that a minimum payment is going to be made every month on time. And that way, with that, what's going to happen is that they're at least going to get that minimum payment, and then you could pay off the rest of it and that kind of stuff and make two payments. And so that way you're not going to be late. And that's a really good way to do it. If you do pay your credit card bill in full each month rather than carry a balance, that's another thing that definitely helps your score. If you do have a credit card and you do carry a balance, the best thing to do is to keep that balance below 50%. And that's another huge thing too, because when they're looking and evaluating your credit score, if you're not using all of the credit that you have available, that is a huge thing that they are looking for and looking at and that they want to see and everything. This thing actually says to keep your credit utilization below 30% of your credit limit. And so one way to do that is that you could ask a credit card company to increase your limit. Don't use that extra limit, but if you had it available and you weren't using it, then that's going to actually increase your score. Don't apply for too many new accounts. Even if you apply for a new account and are not approved, it can have a negative impact on your score. And you want to review your credit report and dispute any errors. There are 3 credit reporting agencies: Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And at no cost, you can get a credit report from these people and look at it. And you want to make sure that everything on there is accurate. If your credit score is too low to obtain a traditional credit card, you can obtain a secured credit card. With this type of card, a credit limit will be established and you'll prepay the amount in advance. Now, what I've been told by mortgage brokers as well is that you want to have what they consider a major account. And so that's over $1,000. So if you've got a credit card limit of like $500, that doesn't do you as much good as if it's $1,000 limit. So, like I said, if you set those payments up for automatic at the minimum and then they increase your credit limit, then that's going to be a huge thing that you can have in order to help you with that. So basically it comes down to those few things, is trying to don't utilize all your credit, pay your bills on time, obviously, and, and don't apply for too many things at once. So all of those things are important. And basically, if you're buying a house, it is even more important not to go out there and shop for furniture or shop for appliances or anything like that previous to when you close on your house, because there are limits in regards to what your total debt can be, and maybe you're close and maybe you're not. But when those kinds of things happen before you actually close your mortgage, it sometimes causes red flags and might put you a little bit over the limit and might even cause your loan from not being approved. So you definitely want to make sure that you don't go out there and change jobs in the middle of getting a new house. You don't want to apply for new credit things. You just want to keep everything as it is, so that, with the exception of paying things down, obviously, so that you can definitely, qualify for that loan that you qualified for in the first place until it's signed, sealed, and delivered is basically, what you want to make sure that happens. But if you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio with you every Sunday at 8 a.m. If you want to reach us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So what I'm going to talk about now is our House of the Week. And our House of the Week this week, it's actually in Champions Gate. It is a 2-bedroom and a den, villa, 1-story townhouse. It's considered a townhouse. It's an end unit. It's got 1,505 square feet. So basically, it's got 2 bedrooms plus a third flex space that doesn't have a door on it. You could put a door on it and make it a 3rd bedroom if you needed to, but it's an office, and it's got a very nice size open dining, living, kitchen area. And then in addition to that, it's got a covered lanai. The master bedroom is huge. It's got a huge master bedroom walk-in closet and a huge master bedroom, bathroom as well. Primary, I guess, is what they're calling them all now. And then in addition to that, you've got the second bedroom and the second bathroom. The laundry is inside, and then you have a garage with this one as well. Now, the interesting thing about this, included in the gates of Champions Gate, is that you're part of what they call the country club. So this is not for short-term rental. It's only for people that live there full-time. And with your HOA dues, you actually get a credit of $75 per month to use at the restaurant that is there in the country club. So from my understanding, the owner told me that they have great food. They eat there all the time and all that kind of good stuff. And $75 of it is, paid for with your HOA dues, including your cable and your internet and all that. Those kinds of things are included in your HOA dues as well. Obviously, it's a gated community, so that's awesome. And the other thing that is huge that's included, with your HOA fees in there in that country club are your golf dues. So if you are a golfer, you can golf for free. I think you have to pay a cart fee or something like that. That's pretty inexpensive. But basically, you have the right to golf anytime that you want to for no money. And so it's really a golfer's dream is this property. It was only built in 2020, so it's fairly new, obviously, only 3 or 4 years old. They come with tile roofs, so those are exceptional, obviously. As I said, it's an end unit. The community pool is, you can see it actually from your covered lanai there, but it's not in your backyard. It's probably about a half a block away. And that community area, they've got like a little putting green. They've got some, playground equipment and everything for the kids and all of that kind of stuff, walking past. It's just really a nice area. And so, basically when it comes down to it, this owner is very meticulous. Everything has been repainted in there. They put marble backsplash in the kitchen and all stainless steel appliances and all that kind of good stuff. So it's a great property. And if you'd like more information, just let us know. But we are basically out of time right now. So in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we will see you next week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.